This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched to a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Tori to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Tori. In today's fast-paced world, taking care of your mental health is more important than ever. If you're looking to reduce stress, increase mindfulness, and improve your overall well-being, then you absolutely need Calm. Calm helps you stress less, sleep more, and live a happier, healthier life. For listeners of the show, Calm is offering an exclusive offer of 40% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/manifest. Go to calm.com/manifest for 40% off unlimited access to Calm's entire library. That's calm.com/manifest. Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Manifest with Tori DeSimone. I'm your host, Tori DeSimone. I hope you guys are having an amazing week so far. I am actually pretty under the weather, so if you guys are watching this on video, this is the best it's going to get today look-wise, and if you guys are listening to audio only, I apologize if I sound a little nasally. I need to remember that every time I travel, specifically fly, that I always get some sort of sickness afterwards. Last weekend, I was in Disney World for 3 days. I went on like Thursday through Sunday of last week, and I just caught some sort of like bug, like whether it be, it feels like a head cold, honestly. So I'm just a little bit under the weather, and I apologize because it probably just sounds really annoying on a podcast, and I know I don't like look my best. So this is good. It's going to get for both of those aspects, but nonetheless, I'm feeling a little bit better, a little bit on the mend enough to podcast. I definitely was not able to podcast Tuesday or Wednesday, but I'm feeling a little bit better today to where I'm able to at least have a conversation with myself out loud for the next 30 minutes or so. So anyway, I hope you guys are having an amazing Monday so far. I just watched the Vanderpump Rules finale, and I have so many thoughts on it. And I think I need to have like every now and then just like a random episode go up on like a Thursday or something where we just talk about like personal stuff like pop culture or just like TV that I'm watching or just like random stuff about like Tori, because I know a lot of you guys know who I am through like YouTube, or you followed me for the past couple of years or whatever it might be. But I know the majority of you guys actually just have found my podcast and only listen to me through my podcast. So you're not really interested in like life updates or my thoughts on like housewives, because it's like all I watch is reality TV and like what shows I watch and stuff like that. So maybe I can do like a random episode every now and then whenever I have like a lot of things to say about like books I'm reading or shows I'm watching or stuff like that. That won't be like a Monday episode. So I'll do like a bonus episode about just like random stuff. But I'm just going to say my quick 2 cents on the Vanderpump Rules, and then we will get into today's episode. I thought the episode was really good, but honestly really sad. I found myself crying through a lot of the episode and tearing up just because it's just so sad to see a relationship end. And I thought Tom Sandoval looked like such a fool the entire episode. Him trying to just be like, oh, the relationship wasn't working, and put it on Ariana. Like, just what a loser, honestly. And I'm glad Tom took so much of the front of it. I don't know if that was how it was intended or because Raquel just like wouldn't film. No one could get a hold of her. I don't know what it was, but I'm glad Tom took a lot of the front of it, because at the end of the day, he was one in a relationship. And while Raquel definitely owed loyalty to Ariana and her best friend and Tom, and like it's so messed up on both their parts, I'm really glad Tom was like taking a lot of the hit for it, because it's just like disgraceful. But I thought the episode was sad. Like at the end of the episode, I wasn't like begging for more. I honestly just feel really sad, and it humanized, I think, the whole relationship and the whole situation. And I was just sad. Like, it's just really sad to see such a long relationship come to an end, especially when it comes to an end like this. It was just really, really sad. So I'm very curious how the reunion plays out. And I feel like Ariana got like such mojo in the reunion. So I'm really excited to see her like speak her mind. And I thought she held herself so well in her conversation with Tom in the episode. And yeah, anyway, I won't go on more about it, but I just thought the whole episode was really sad. And I just wanted to talk about it with someone. So anyway, that was my little recap on Vanderpump Rules. But last week's episode of Manifest with Tori DeSimone was You Are What You Repeat, and it got such amazing feedback, and I'm really happy that it got such great feedback, because as soon as I wrapped that episode and that recording, I was like, I really feel like this is going to be one that's going to stick with people. And I have that feeling after a couple episodes, a couple times a year. Like, I'm always proud of every episode that I put out, but there are some that really stick out when I finish them, where I'm like, I feel like this could change someone's life. And that was one of those episodes. And it kind of got me thinking, like, okay, well, what's beyond this and what's next? And it kind of brings me back to another quote that I heard also recently. And it takes You Are What You Repeat a step further. And that's what's going to be today's episode, is like, what's after You Are What You Repeat? And I believe that it is the best, don't get bored of the basics. And that's what today's episode is going to be all about. And it's a quote from Kobe Bryant. And I'm going to say it throughout this episode. It's the title of this episode. But again, it is the best, don't get bored of the basics. And this was again said by Kobe Bryant. Side note, I have a spiral like literally once a month about Kobe Bryant and his death. So I can't like think about it for too long, but I wish when he was alive that I was much more invested in his teachings and in his journey. He was such a routined and regimented person that embodies everything that I respect, I admire, and I aspire to be. And he was just like one of the best ever, like one of the greatest minds. And I always overlooked him because he was in the basketball world, and I just never like really looked that much into basketball. I always just thought of him as like an athlete, and that's really all. But I never really categorized him as someone that I like look up to, like self-help mentors or anything like that, when in actuality, all of his teachings and his practices really line up with everyone that I admire and respect and look up to. So I'm pissed at myself for not doing that while he was alive. And I get into a spiral about his death, and I just can't even think about it. But recently, I heard this quote a few months ago on the Skinny Confidential. They had I should have looked up what the guest name was. I'll link the episode below, but they had a guest on, and he was a basketball coach, and he had really great advice. And this quote, he said in it, the best, don't get bored of the basics. And he talked about it with Steph Curry, and he talked about it with Kobe Bryant, and he related to it a lot with athletes and their sports and, you know, that realm of things. But I applied it to my life and the daily routine of things, and just the actual phrase, the best, don't get bored of the basics. And that quote really elevates and takes You Are What You Repeat one step further. The best, don't get bored of the basics dives really deep into routine, into consistency, and into romanticizing the mundane daily activities that move the needle towards success, however you define success. So some of the people that I deem successful have very monotonous day-to-day routines that really don't change much. They repeat the same actions, they wake up at the same time, and they practice the same skills day in and day out, all in the name of improvement and self-improvement nonetheless. I have a couple of examples of this, of people and businesses that practice mundane day-to-day activities, and it equates back to those activities being their basics. I'm currently reading Andy Cohen's new book, Daddy Diaries, and while I find it really interesting to hear about his perspective on Housewives and Bravo and all that sort of stuff, it's even more interesting to me to read how routine and, dare I say, mundane his daily life is. Even though his mundane life is like 100 times cooler than my mundane life would ever be, he really does repeat the same actions every single day. what he does every day is he wakes up his son, he takes his son to school, he films Radio Andy, he has meetings during the day, he then puts his son down to bed, and he goes and films Watch What Happens Live, he gets dinner, he has a nightcap, and he goes to sleep and rinses and repeats the next day. So it's mundane, it's very routine, and it's very similar, but it moves the needle in the right direction. It becomes, what happens with this is, it's because of his consistency with Radio Andy that show grows. It's because of his consistency with Watch What Happens Live that it gets picked up for a new season. It's because of his consistency with meetings that the Bravo Housewives franchises all continue. It's because of his consistency with all three of his careers that they continue to expand, and that this gets him a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame or hosting the New Year's show on ABC. It's because of these mundane day-to-day activities that he's finding peak success in his 50s. You know what I mean? Like, he's been doing this stuff day in and day out for years and years and years. All these little things added up over time. It's the mundane day-to-day. He just moves the needle ever so slightly, 1%, 1 degree every single day in the right direction of success. And sure, you know, he has the occasional outlier days of flying to LA for a reunion taping or a really fun vacation, but the majority of his days are spent doing the basics, which to him are Radio Andy, Bravo meetings, and Watch What Happens Live. Those are his basics, and he's mastered the basics, and he doesn't get bored of the basics. The best don't get bored of the basics. Is hiring challenging? Yes. But do I love a challenge? Also yes. You need a hiring partner that can help you rise to the challenge, and you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. We streamline hiring with powerful tools that help you find matched candidates. With the Indeed Instant Match, over 80% of employers get quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match their job description the moment that they sponsor a job, according to the US data. So Indeed is used very much so in this household. I've used Indeed for both of my businesses, Manifest Planner and for Stride. Whenever we're looking for positions, the first place that I always look for candidates is on Indeed, and my boyfriend actually found his current job on Indeed. So we've used it both ways in this household, and I love Indeed. One of the things that I love the most about it is because of their instant match. It just makes finding candidates really, really easy. Candidates that I invite to apply are 3 times more likely to apply to my job than candidates who only see it in the search, which is according to the US Indeed data. What's even better is that Indeed's the only job site where you only have to pay for the applications that meet your must-have requirements. Indeed is an unbelievably powerful hiring platform, delivering 4 times more hires than all other job sites combined, which is according to the Talent Nest 2019 data. Join more than 3 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/manifest. The offer is good only for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/manifest. Indeed.com/manifest. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. It's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else needs from you and never take a moment to think about what you need from yourself. Recently, I've been talking so much about comparison on social media, and I feel like I'm constantly getting behind. And I talked about this so much that I even brought it up in therapy recently. And this is where I personally have benefited so much from therapy. I have found that my life has completely changed from therapy. Ever since I started going about 2 years ago to my specific therapist, my life has been so much more clear. I feel like I'm very level-headed when it comes to situations. I'm able to see things from a completely different perspective and point of view. And I feel like I really, truly understand myself at such a better level than I have been before. And I just feel so much better overall since I've started therapy. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and it's designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. All you have to do is fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched to a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Find more balance with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/Tori to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Tori. In today's fast-paced world, taking care of your mental health is more important than ever. If you're looking to reduce stress, increase mindfulness, and improve your overall well-being, then you absolutely need Calm. Calm helps you stress less, sleep more, and live a happier, healthier life. Calm recognizes that everyone faces unique challenges in their daily life and that mental health needs differ from person to person, and that time for meditation may vary. And since self practices are so deeply personal, Calm strives to provide content that caters to everyone's preferences and needs. Their meditation ranges from focus on anxiety to stress, self care to inner peace. They also have sleep stories, relaxing music tracks, and daily movement sessions, all designed to give you the tools to improve the way that you feel. They even have expert-led talks on topics such as tips for overcoming stress and anxiety, handling grief, improving self-esteem, caring for relationships, and more. Everything you need to prioritize your mental health and wellness is on Calm. If you go to calm.com/manifest, you'll get a special offer of 40% off a Calm premium subscription, and new content is added every single week. So relax, because Calm's got everything you need for a happier and healthier you. I am Calm's #1 fan. I use their app every single day. It's really encouraging because Calm also has a streak, and I'm really proud of my streak on Calm. It's not to brag, like the highest streak I've ever had in my life. But I really do love Calm. I use it every single day. One thing that I love about Calm is that they have so many daily sessions. They have daily Calm, they have daily J, they have daily movement, and essentially it's just meditation or advice or movement sessions. And now that the summer is about to roll out and I'm moving down to the shore actually today, my plan for the summer is to wake up and do a morning walk down to the ocean and listen to the daily Calm and daily J. It's about 20 minutes total, which is just enough time to walk to the ocean and back to my house and just feel really rooted and really centered. So I'm using that to wake up every day, but I also love using Calm to go to sleep. They have amazing sleep stories. One of them is Harry Styles, and that is probably the reason I will never, ever, ever be able to part ways with Calm, because they have a Harry Styles sleep story on there, and I've listened to that sleep story about 5,000 times. I am obsessed with it beyond belief, and I just really love everything that Calm does, and everything that they have on the app is perfect for me, and I've referred so many friends for it. They just have the best stuff, and I could not recommend Calm enough. For listeners of the show, Calm is offering an exclusive offer of 40% off a Calm premium subscription at calm.com/manifest. Go to calm.com/manifest for 40% off unlimited access to Calm's entire library. That's calm.com/manifest. Another example is Nick Bare. He's someone that I talk about quite frequently on this podcast, and I really respect him a lot and admire him and look up to him. He, in my eyes, is like the definition of consistency, and he says this a lot too. He's like, if I'm anything, I'm consistent, and if that's not the truth, like it really is. Nick Bare, if you guys don't know, he is a founder of BPN, Bare Performance Nutrition. It's a supplement company. He's a content creator, and he is a hybrid athlete, which is like an endurance runner. He's an Ironman. He's a bodybuilder. That's what he calls himself, as a hybrid athlete. So he's able to move his needle of success by being regimented in his routine, and lucky for us, he documents it on YouTube, and literally all of his videos are the same. And lucky for me, I love each and every one of them. And sure, he gets the comments every now and then that are like, dude, all your videos are the same. But you have to kind of admire that every single one of his videos, he's doing the same couple of things, and he's wildly successful in all of the things that he shows because he's showing up to do them every single day. His videos are a morning run, going to the office, coming home, making dinner with his family, rinse and repeating, and doing it again the next day. And it's because of his morning runs that he's able to run sub 3-hour marathons and ultra marathons and dedicate the time to train to hit his athletic goals, such as Ironmans. I think he's done 2 Ironmans, if I'm not mistaken, bodybuilding shows, like whatever it might be. He has these goals and he's able to hit them. It's because of his time in the office each day that he's able to grow his company to the size that it's at and rapidly scale this company as it's growing. He just brought on a brand new CEO. I feel like the company's bigger than ever. It's in so many stores now. It's everywhere. It's just doing really amazing. I feel like every time I look at his page, like BPN is constantly growing. It's because of him making time to have dinner with his family every night that he gets to have a family to share dinner with and spend time with. He just brought in a baby girl to the world, and He gets to spend time with his wife and with his baby. He's just so consistent, and his basics revolve around training, working, and family, all of which he appears to be very successful in. So he's mastered his basics. He shows up every single day to his basics. The best don't get bored of the basics. Another example is The Toast, which is a podcast. I'm sure a lot of you guys are very familiar with The Toast. They have a really funny, amazing daily podcast on Monday through Fridays most of the time. And they have a really amazing show that one is rapidly growing. I feel like since I even started watching it in 2020, the show, or 2021, the show has just gotten so much larger, and it's really, really big. Like their numbers, like what they post every single day, and what their numbers are that they pull in every day. I mean, we can only see the YouTube front of it. You can't see like the back end of audio numbers and stuff, but their YouTube front is huge. Like it's really massive to pull those numbers every single day. So they have a really rapidly growing show. They have a huge audience. They record every single day at 10:30 a.m. for an hour or so every day, and they post a show daily. They film it, they clip it, they post it, they edit it, they show up to it, and they do it every single day. It's mundane. Can you imagine doing the same thing every single day at 10:30? I'm sure a lot of us do that. And a lot of us still look for, the extravagant, the special, that outlier of the day that makes us think like, man, why can't every day be this exciting? But it's truly the mundane acts that we need to find success. So tying this kind of back to The Toast, they've mastered their basics of finding the daily fast 5 stories, recording it daily, and posting it daily. Their basics have been mastered, and they really don't stray away from the basics. They don't reinvent their show once it's gotten to a certain level of success. Sure, they add in like new little tidbits here and there, but their show has stayed consistent over the years. It's a fast 5-story pop culture show. Now they talk a little bit more about family, and they talk a little bit more about themselves and each other, and they have really great banter with one another, but it's always remained consistent in what the show is about. So their basics have been mastered, and they don't stray away from their basics. They don't reinvent their show once it's gotten to a certain level of success. They stay rooted in the original recipe, as they like to call it, and it's gotten them to where they can move the needle in the direction of success. They've mastered the basics. They stay with it, and they continue to grow rapidly as a result. They've mastered the consistency. The best don't get bored of the basics. It's really easy to focus on the extravagant, and an easy example for me to think of something like this are influencers. With influencers, like we see the red carpets that they do interviews on, we see the brand trips, we see these really cool events that they attend, but there wouldn't be brand trips or cool events or red carpets for them to interview celebrities on if it weren't for the daily filming or the podcasting or the daily posting, the daily editing, and the mundane day-to-day. The extravagant opportunities wouldn't even be on the table if it weren't for the mundane day-to-day, the consistency, the repetition of what it is to be an influencer. And I know this comes to mind, top of mind for me, because I feel like I have one foot in the influencing world, one foot out of it. So I kind of see it from both sides, where it can look like it's not a job. It's really easy. It's really simple. Anyone could be an influencer. But then I also see like the other side of it, where it's like it does take a lot of time, a lot of work, not necessarily saying it's like the hardest amount of time of work compared to like a neurosurgeon, if we're going to go there, but like it does take time, effort, and work, and you can't really, undermine that. Like it does take time, energy, and effort. But what I'm getting at is that all the extravagant things that we see influencers get to do, like red carpet interviews and cool brand trips and, like going to Tarte and like Miami F1, like all that sort of stuff, that wouldn't be possible without the daily basics, without the mundane day-to-day activities, the filming, the editing, the posting, the interacting, stuff like that. A random person on the street doesn't get to just go interview celebrities on the red carpet or have like these quote unquote privileges that influencers get to have. But someone that has mastered the basics of influencing, such as recording, editing, and posting, that has built a stable following, does get to do the extravagant opportunities, but only once the basics of influencing have been mastered. It's not like how you can just, pull someone up and be like, hey, you're going to go interview someone on a red carpet. You're going to go interview Bradley Cooper on the red carpet tomorrow. Like not just anyone can go do that, but someone that has mastered the basics of influencing. And then the next step is maybe hosting. Potentially that's someone that could. Once the basics have been mastered, it does open up your world to new opportunities and new adventures and opportunities that you can do. The common denominator with all of these people that they have in common is that they've all mastered the basics. They stayed committed to the consistency, and they're living day to day rather similarly, mundanely, and routinely, yet we tend to romanticize it when the reality of the mundane can get really boring. Side note, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time pronouncing the word romanticizing today. Every time I'm saying it, I've been like tripped up over it. We are romanticizing it when the reality of the mundane can get really boring. But we must continue to show up to the boring, continue to show up to the process, continue to show up to the basics. The best don't get bored of the basics. The basics are what move the needle. The best have a rooted, consistent life focused around routines, consistency, and repetition. Recently, I was on YouTube and I saw a guy post a video that writing for 2 hours a day changed his life. And my first thought was, who has time to write for 2 hours a day? And then I watched his video, and then by the end of it, I thought, why don't I have time to write for 2 hours a day? And I try my best to really fill my time and my days with anything that has intention to me. And one book that really kickstarted this idea for me was The One Thing by Gary Keller. And it's essentially about focusing on the one thing that will move your needle of success in the right direction every day, whether it be 1%, 2%, 0.5%, whatever it might be. Just doing one thing a day that will get you closer to what you believe is success and successful for you. But what if there are multiple things that move the needle? Because after all, we are multifaceted human beings. We're not robots. So naturally we have multiple interests, right? That's kind of where I got to thinking with this whole writing thing every day. Even if it's not like what I'm going to be doing, but this video kind of sparked this whole idea for me and this thought process for me. I should be able to make time to write every day if that's something that for me would move the needle in the right direction. Otherwise, I'm just making time for fluff, not what truly matters. And for me, fluff is like meetings and scrolling and phone calls and being reactive to others, such as like living in my inbox or text messages. Lily on the 80/20 podcast, who I just simply adore. The other day she posted a podcast episode, and in it she was talking about her inbox, and she said, your inbox is someone else's to-do list. And that really stuck with me. And now every time I go into my texts or my emails, I ask myself, am I ready to do someone else's to-do list? And it stopped me a lot of the times from just randomly clicking on my inbox or clicking on my text messages just for the purpose of project 0 in my inbox, which is essentially where you want to get you want all of your emails to be read, or you want all of your text messages to be responded to. Like, not everything needs to be responded to, because typically if I have to respond to something, then I have to do something in order to make it officially responded to. Like if someone's asking for, something to be done, then I have to do that thing for me to respond and say, okay, it's finished, whatever it might be. So having my inbox be someone else's to-do list, I'll get to it when I have time for it. It's more so just fluff for me to get to when I don't need to be doing it at that very moment. So anyway, asking myself, am I ready to do someone else's to-do list, has really stopped me from just randomly clicking on my inbox or text messages just for the purpose of project 0 in my inbox. And while that stuff to me feels like fluff, what matters to me to move me in the right direction is creativity. Everything I do seems to be rooted in creativity. Creating my planners, writing this podcast script, ideas for Stride, etc., like things like that. Anything that will progress my business really seems to be rooted in creativity. Not the calls, not the meetings, not the emails, not the day-to-day managerial operations that, don't get me wrong, are important, but they shouldn't be prioritized in my day-to-day life. Maybe it's 30 minutes at the end of the day. Maybe it's an hour at the end of the day. Maybe it's 2 hours one day of the week. You know what I mean? Like, they need to get done, don't get me wrong, but it's the fluff. It's not the priority. So my basics are carving out time just to be creative. So make time for you and make time for what is important and what will get you to move the needle in all aspects of your life. For example, that might mean moving the needle in work, in hobbies, in family, in happiness. If your work is dependent on creative time, carve out 2 hours a day for creativity and don't budge on it. Like remain consistent in that. If your happiness is dependent on reading 1 hour a night, carve it out and don't budge on it. Like do it consistently. If being with your family after work is important for you, leave your phone in the car and be fully present. Don't budge on that. Be very consistent in that. If running and training for you is important, then carve out 4 to 5 days a week to go out for a run, whether it be 10 minutes or 10 miles. Do it consistently and don't budge on it. If you're like me and you always need like a tangible takeaway or an exercise to do, here is a visual exercise you guys can do to kind of like lock this down into your brain. Download the Manifest worksheets or the Manifest planner. I'll have a link to it down below, and use the ideal weekly spread. This is what I did, and it helped me so much to visualize my basics and visualize carving out the time to get my basics done to where I could be mundane in it, I could be consistent in it, and I could create a routine of the basics. So in the notes section, I want you to write down your basics. So for example, my basics are running because I'm training for a marathon, admin linking, which means just like having all my links kind of talk to each other in like an ecosystem, writing. And this is new because of that YouTube video that I watched, but I realized that I've actually been doing this for years and I just never really thought about it that way. 4 is creativity. I mentioned earlier that creativity is really rooted in everything that I do. And number 5, social networking, meaning like interacting with you guys on social media and stuff like that. Notice how scrolling is not on one of them. Okay, I'm still on my anti-scrolling. Thank you so much. So once, whoa, I just like totally lost my voice. Sorry about that. So once you determine your basics, this is what I mean about being sick. Like it's so annoying to podcast when you sound sick, but sorry, had to get this one out there today because it's a topic that I passionately believe in and I could just go in and edit that, but I normally don't edit my podcast, so I'm going to keep it going. So once you've determined your basics, for me, I determined 5, but you could have 1 basic, you could have 3 basics, you could have 5, you could have 10, whatever is most important to you. Determine your basics that are going to move your needle towards success. Determine how long you want to spend daily on your basics. View these as if they were the only things that mattered to you and as if they made you money. If these things made you money and they were the only things that mattered to you, how long would you spend on them? And be realistic, because the answer might not be as long as you think. Like even if it's the most important thing to you, do you really need to spend more than 10 minutes a day like social networking, like interacting with people online? Probably not. And if you're really productive in your deep work and you're really productive in like your bout of focusing, you really only need like 60 to 90 minutes to knock out a big task. So it might not take as long as you might think to do your most basic things. And especially if you can do it consistently every day. If you can do something for 1 hour every single day, it's easier to show up every single day for 1 hour than having, a 6-hour bout of focus once a week. Do you know what I mean? I'd rather do it once a day for an hour than once a week for 6 hours. It just sounds better to do once a day for 1 hour. Anyway, once you determine how long your basics are going to take, then you're going to go into your weekly time block, which again, if you downloaded the Manifest worksheets or planner, then it's your ideal weekly spread. Go into your ideal weekly time block and block out the time each day of the week that you want to accomplish it. And this is kind of what I mean, where if your Monday to Friday can't be the same every day, then maybe every single Monday can be the same, or maybe every single Tuesday can be the same, or maybe your Monday, Wednesday, Friday is the same, and then your Tuesday, Thursdays are the same, but your Monday to Tuesday is drastically different than your Monday to Wednesday. You know what I mean? So even if every single day can't be the same, can you find some routine or some consistency within your days of the week or within the times? If your mornings are different every day, but your nights, let's say from 7 to 9 can be your creative time, then so be it. Like whatever it is, make it work. You have 24 hours each day. So maximize those 24 hours to really take advantage and master your basics. Even if you want to go for a run every single day at 6 a.m., for example, but for some reason you have work starting at 7 on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you can only do 6 a.m. runs on Monday, Tuesday, then you can do 6 a.m. runs on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe you do 6 p.m. runs, whatever it might be. So as long as you are maximizing your 24 hours and getting your basics done, the time doesn't matter as long as you are able to create a routine where maybe every Wednesday it's the same, every Thursday it's the same, every Friday it's the same. Not every day has to look the same, but every day should have some mundane consistency in it. And I know it's boring to do the same things every single day, but the best don't get bored of the basics. That's why the people that are best in their field are doing the same stuff every single day, because the best don't get bored of the basics. They don't get bored of the boring. With this visualization in front of you of your ideal weekly spread where it's, Mondays from 7 to 6 or from 6 to 7, it's a run. And then from 8 to 10, it's your creative hour. And then from 10 to 11, it's your admin hour or whatever it might be. Once you have this ideal weekly time block visualized in front of you, incorporate this schedule into your life. Don't schedule the fluff during your basics. Don't schedule a call during your creative time. Don't schedule a chat with your friend during your run. Don't schedule fluff during your basics. Your basics are what help you grow. Your fluff is what keeps you stagnant and plateaued. And I feel like I have come across this a lot in business. I get to a certain point and then I just plateau. And every single time that I plateau, I look back and I think why am I plateaued? Why am I not growing? What has changed? And I can tell you that is what changed every single time is that I start prioritizing the fluff. I spend too much time on the fluffy things that don't move the business in the right direction. And I forget about the basics. I forget about all the things that have moved the business in the right direction. I've stopped mastering the basics, but the basics are gold. The basics is growth. And honestly, I know I keep saying it, but it's just the whole premise of this episode. The best don't get bored of the basics, and the basics can get boring, and the basics aren't always fun, and the basics are mundane. So I encourage you to romanticize the basics every day. What about waking up and writing for 2 hours makes you excited? Is it that you get to have a cup of coffee before? Is it that you get to see the sun come up? Is it that you get to journal about it before or after? Is it that you get to create something amazing when you sit down for 2 hours to write every day? What about going to do free throw shots? See, this is me trying to be tie it back to Kobe Bryant when I just can't even relate. But what about the basics is romanticized for you? What about sitting down to create new planner spreads every single day makes me excited? What about sitting down to script a podcast episode every single week gets me excited? It's romanticizing the little things that help you remain rooted in consistency. And over time, it will just become a habit. Over time, when you're performing under pressure, all these things that you do day to day will just become normal for you. It'll just become a basic for you. It'll just become part of your daily routine. Kind of thinking back to sports, and the only reason that I keep thinking about basketball with this is because of Kobe Bryant. But for example, if you're shooting a free throw and it's the basic practice of it when you're at practice and you're just practicing that free throw and you're throwing it and you're throwing it and you're throwing it. Over time, you're just going to naturally make those baskets because it becomes a habit. How you breathe right before you throw it, how you snap your wrist right before you throw it, how you bend your ankles, how you bend your knees, whatever it might be. All that stuff is just going to become routine. It's going to become consistent. It's going to become a habit. So then when it counts, or when, the game is depending on it, or when it's your turn to throw a free throw in a game, it's going to just become a habit. So all of the basics that you do day in and day out, when no one's looking, when no one's watching, when someone is eventually watching, it's going to become a habit for you. It's going to be easy for you because you do it every single day, day in and day out. The best simply don't get bored of the basics. And that's really where I'm going to leave you guys today. I know this episode was a little bit shorter, partly because it was kind of just a thought that I had in my mind that I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on from last week's episode. You are what you repeat. I feel like this is just another step further in that. The best don't get bored of the basics, but also partly because I am feeling a little bit under the weather, and I know my voice is probably annoying to listen to, and I'm still not feeling the best, not fully recovered, but this is a thought that I just couldn't get out of my mind, that I've really been thinking a lot about lately, and that I wanted to get out there. So I hope this has stuck with you guys, and I hope that this episode leaves you feeling inspired and wanting to do more of the basics every single day. If you guys want to download the Manifest Planner products, I'll have a link to it down below with a 10% discount code in my description box. If you want to follow me, my Instagrams are linked down below. I'm also working on a few new things for the Manifest Planner that I'm really excited about. I actually just sent a new product to print. It's a newer, smaller Manifest Planner that is much smaller in size. It's much lighter in size. There's a lot less pages. It's about half the size, and I have tabs on it, and it's undated still, but I'm really excited about it. And I know you guys will love it. So that's actually in print. Stay tuned on that for when that's going to be released. But yeah, anyway, I'm also in the works of creating a blog. I feel like a lot of these episodes can be made into blog posts. So if you guys ever just want to read as opposed to listen, that will be up and ready very soon. I'll let you guys know when that is going to be ready. But in the meantime, you guys can visit the link in my bio to join my mailing list when that is ready to go. But guys, thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Manifest with Tori DeSimone. I hope you loved it. Short and sweet. Let me know what you guys think about like another bonus episode, like once a month or something, where we just catch up and have girl time. I would love that. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. Happy Manifest Monday. Get after the basics this week. Let me know what your basics are. I would love to know. And thank you guys so much for listening. I love you guys all so much. Have a great week. Happy Manifest Monday. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, guys. The best don't get bored of the basics. Don't forget. Bye. Is hiring challenging? Yes. But do I love a challenge? Also, yes. You need a hiring partner that can help you rise to the challenge, and you need Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform you can attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Instead of spending hours on multiple job sites searching for candidates with the right skills, Indeed's a powerful hiring platform that can help you do it all. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/manifest. The offer is good only for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/manifest. Indeed.com/manifest. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.